In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front lower control arm on your Nissan Armada located behind the front wheels. Let's get started. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to go ahead and remove the lug nuts. Remove the tire. With the wheel off, we're going to go ahead and remove the axle nut. To get to it, we need to remove this pin. I'm going to go ahead and use a pair of needle nose pliers. We're going to bend the leg back. And now we're going to slide it off. In this case, because the pin got stuck, I'm going to go ahead and use some locking pliers. We're going to be replacing it anyways. Now we can go ahead and use a 32mm socket to remove this knot. The next thing we need to do before we move to the back of the axle, we need to make sure that the axle moves freely from the hub. I'm going to go ahead and use a rubber mallet just to tap it. And as you can see, it moved inwards, so now we're good. This is going to be your outer tie rod. Using a 22mm socket, we're going to go ahead and remove this knot. All we need is to unhook it so we can move the whole assembly forward. So go ahead and take this off. And now I'm going to go ahead and use a hammer to pop this arm off. When you do this, you want to make sure you do not hit the treads. Just move the arm away. Moving behind the rotor assembly, we're going to go ahead and remove this bolt. On the nut side, we're going to use a 19mm wrench. And for the bolt, we're going to be using a 17mm socket. Go ahead and take it off. Remove the bolt. Next up, I'm going to use a small pry bar and a hammer, and I'm going to wedge it in between this little gap to open it up. That's going to help get the ball joint out. We're going to go ahead and spray some rust penetrant to help the ball joint loose. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a bigger pry bar to help me remove the ball joint. I'm going to wedge it in between the ball joint and the knuckle and pull it out. When you get to this point, you can go ahead and push the axle in to give you more space. Now move the knuckle away from the arm. We're going to be removing this nut. On one side, we're going to use a 19mm wrench. On the opposite side of the link, this is just to hold the stud so it doesn't spin. And on the other side, we're going to be using an 18mm socket. Go ahead and take this knot off. Remove the wrench. Now we can go ahead and remove the top nut. For that, we're going to be using an 18mm wrench. On this side, this is just to hold it from spinning. And on the other side, we're going to use an 18mm wrench. Go ahead and break it loose. Remove the nut. Remove your wrench. And now remove the link. And here's the link. Now we're going to go ahead and use a screw jack to put some pressure on this whole assembly just to keep it so it doesn't fall. Go ahead and move it away from the vehicle. Now we can go ahead and remove the lower strut bolt. We're going to go ahead and use a 21mm wrench on the nut side. And on the bolt side, we're going to use a 21mm socket. Go ahead and remove the nut. Here's the nut. And now we can remove the bolt. Now we can go ahead and loosen up the two bolts for the camber adjustment on the lower control arm. On one side, we're going to be using a 22mm wrench, holding the bolt. And on the other side, we're going to use a 21mm socket just to get it loose. Do not remove completely yet. We're going to be repeating the same process on the other one. Now we can go ahead and grab the arm and swing it over this way. Just like that. Now we can go ahead and take off the nuts. Remove the washer. And just keep in mind all the orientation. We're going to be installing it back this way. Do the same on this side. And the same applies to this one. Now we can go ahead and remove the bolts. Just keep in mind you want to hold on to the control arm so it doesn't fall. After you remove the bolts, go ahead and remove the arm. You might need to use a pry bar just to help pull it out. And here's the arm. And here we have the replacement arm. The first thing we need to do is remove this cover. Simply grab it and slide it out. Just like that. Now we can go ahead and install the arm. We're gonna go the same way we removed it. We're gonna go ahead and line up the holes and install the bolts. You may need to use a rubber mallet just to line up the holes. Now we can go ahead and install the bolt, making sure we pay attention to how the washer is. Go ahead and put it on. We're gonna repeat the process on the other side. Once you have the bolts in place, go ahead and slide the washers. Make sure you pay attention to the orientation. Go ahead and install the nut by hand. And do the same on the other side. Now that we have the bolts in and the nuts in by hand, we're gonna go ahead and move the arm up. Go ahead and grab onto this lip and just get it on it. Just like that. This is just to hold it in place. Now we can go ahead and install the bolt that goes to the strut. I'm gonna go ahead and use a rubber mallet just to line this up. Now go ahead and install the bolt. And now install the nut by hand. Now we can go ahead and install the link. Slide it in at the bottom first. Line it up with the top. And now we can start the nuts. Now we can go ahead and get it snug. Just get it snug, do not tie it all the way yet. Go ahead and get the strut snug. Now we're gonna go ahead and snug these bolts using a 22mm wrench on the bolt side and a 21mm socket on the nut side. Go ahead and snug it up. Do not tie it all the way yet. We're gonna do the same on this one. Now we can go ahead and take our screw jack off so we can get the lower ball joint into the knuckle. Go ahead and move it to the side. Now we can grab the whole assembly and strain it out. Now we can go ahead and install the lower ball joint onto the knuckle. For that, I'm gonna be using a screw jack just to push on the control arm up so it gives us enough space to install the ball joint. Go ahead and go up. We're gonna be compressing the suspension a little bit so it gives us enough room to slide that in. You may have to tap the axle in to give us room. Using a rubber mallet and a small chisel, you can go ahead and tap onto the lower ball joint to get it into the hole. Go ahead and line it up. Now we can go ahead and lower this screw jack. Also, you could use a pry bar to help you. Using the rubber mallet, gently tap the bottom. We need to make sure we put some pressure underneath the knuckle to bring the suspension up. If you have any issues with the bottom ball joint going in, go ahead and tap it with a mallet. And now we need to make sure we remove the screw jack. Now we can go ahead and install the lower ball joint bolt. You may need to tap it. Go ahead and install the nut. Now we can go ahead and get it snug. We're gonna use a 17mm wrench on one side and a 19mm socket on the nut side. Do not tighten all the way yet. Go ahead and install the tie rod. Get it in. And install the nut. Go ahead and get it snug. Do not tighten all the way yet. Now that we have everything snug, we're gonna go ahead and put some pressure on the suspension as if the vehicle was on the ground. For this, we're gonna be using our screw jack. We're gonna go ahead and put it on this point, and we're just gonna apply some pressure as if the vehicle had the tire on and wheels on the ground. This is so we can get everything torqued down. Now we can go ahead and torque down the lower ball joint. We're gonna be going to 65 foot-pounds. Go ahead and get it torqued. Now we can go ahead and torque the link to 107 foot-pounds. And next we have the top nut. If you can fit a socket, the same torque spec applies to that one. In this case, I'm just gonna make sure it's snug with the 2 wrenches. Now we can torque the bottom of the strut to 122 foot-pounds. Now we can torque down our tie rod. We're gonna go to 40 foot-pounds. Now we can go ahead and torque down the camber bolts to 122 foot-pounds. Go ahead and get the nut side torqued down. Now we can go ahead and take the screw jack off the vehicle. Get it away from the vehicle. Now we can go ahead and install the axle nut. Go ahead and start it by hand. And now we can get it snug. Now we can go ahead and torque down our axle nut. But before we do so, I'm gonna use a small flathead screwdriver. I'm gonna go ahead and wedge it between the rotor and the caliper. So when I rotate these, it locks it in place. Now we can go ahead and torque the nut to 120 foot-pounds. And if you see, now it's gonna get locked with the screwdriver. Go ahead and remove the screwdriver. And now we can install the pin, slide it in. And we're gonna go ahead and bend this arm. And now we're gonna go ahead and bend this leg. Install the tire. Install the lug nuts by hand. And now go ahead and snug them up in a star-shaped pattern. With the vehicle on the ground, we're gonna go ahead and torque the lug nuts to 98 foot-pounds in a star pattern. Now you want to make sure you take the vehicle on a test drive and bring the vehicle to an alignment shop to get professionally aligned, and that'll be job done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.